Okay, now that we are here in 3ds Max, I have created a plane with just a simple 200 by 200 of any units, 200 by 220 segments on each dimension. Aside from that, I added the turbo smooth, which I set the iterations to 2. I will explain with regards to the model or the object later on. Most importantly is I will now apply or create a material from our object, from our textures generated from substance. So I'll press letter M to bring out the material editor. And in the material editor, I can choose, for example, a PBR metallic rough. There, I can double click, make it large, and then I can just Control A and rename it. For example, I'll name this substance materials, material set, for example, that. So it is created with a PBR metallic. As you can see, it is very obvious that all of the slots needed by PBR metallic we have already created in substance. The only thing that we need extra is here down at the general maps. The general maps type, we need to add a normal bump. Okay, so what I'll do next is I'll go to my folder. Sorry for this. I'll go to my folder. I'll go to my textures folder. In my env folder too. There. So this is very easy and obvious. I can view this as a list. So here, as you can see, ambient occlusion, base color, height, weight, mask. So I will just go to my 3ds Max and I will start dragging them into the scene so that I can connect them as nodes. So here, so let's just minimize this window. That's why it's cool to have a split monitor while doing this. So for example, here you need the base color map. So I'll just go to my base color and drag it into the scene, and then just click and drag it into the base color node slot, and then it appears, right? So the next thing is I'll go to the other one. Let's say the ambient occlusion. I can click that, drag it in here, and then there it is, AO, the AO map. So as you can see, each time material node is created, it takes effect on the preview. So next is, after the AO base color, let us drag. We did not create a metalness, right? So we can skip that, and then I'll just click a roughness. So the roughness is going to be here, and then after the roughness, the normals. So I can click the normals here. So here we'll go to normal, and then the height is bump. Remember that the old name for height is bump. So I'll just click this, drag it here, and then place it here. And then finally, I can click this and drag it into the normal map. There. So now we have this, our object. I can adjust, for example, if the normal is not appearing, but it is appearing. So the next thing to do is apply this material onto our object. So I will just go here into the scene, and then just click it, drag and apply, and then I'll just show map, or click this to show map or to show the image into the scene. If I go for high quality, then it should be appearing here. See? There it is. If I do a render, so it starts to render. So right now I'm using an Arnold renderer. The next thing is I can use, and this is for the reason, for example, I will close this for now. I will add in my modifier, I can add a turbo smooth. Sorry, I can add a displacement modifier. And in the displacement modifier, I can add an image for it. And then I'll go back to my desktop, my project folder. For example, where's the project folder here? Sorry. Where is that? There. And then texturing, textures and environment 02. So I can use, in the displacement, I can use the height or the bump. And then I'll press open. And there it is. So if I will be adding some strength to it, as you can see, as I add, for example, a strength of 100, so it starts to distort. Let's say add a strength of 85 there, or let's make it a bit subtle there, just like in the amount of the substance material that we have. Let's just increase it a bit, 60 there, for example, that one. So if I will do a render test on this, Shift Q, so as you can see, so the material is appearing in the render. So that's how you can apply materials, or the materials that you've generated in Substance. So for example, if I am to add some lights here, I'll just switch to another render engine. For example, if I go to rendering, render setup, I'll switch to scanline renderer, and then I will add a, let's say, a standard light. Let's add a skylight, and in the skylight I'll just add some cast shadow, and let's lessen the light. But with that, I will add another excuse me, another light, which is an omni light. There, as you can see, it starts to light up. Adjusting it, I'll just give it shadow map parameters. Let's make it 2K and 32 samples. And then let's just increase, let's say, increase the intensity of the light by, let's say, 2. And then I'll just try to move it around. And then I'll do a Shift Q to view it. So as you can see here, you start to see the effect of the light. It's a bit too dark. But there it is. The highlights of the material and the reflectiveness, we can see starting to reflect. Those water material are also reflecting. Now, to further check if they are reflecting, I can also do this. Okay, rendering, so okay. Let's say I'll cancel this, and then let's press number 8. Now, I'll just want to improve the scene a little. Let's say that. then next is, so if I would like to, there's a light now. Now I would like to see a reflection. So for example, if I create a simple object such as a sphere, create it here, add a different color to it. There, let's see if it's going to be reflected, adjusting the radius. Example. And then I'll just try to do a render. Shift F for save frame, and then I'll start the render. Okay, I just changed the angle for the scene. So as you can see, it is being reflected, but refracted differently, so I can adjust that later on in Substance. But the reflection settings is being retained, as you can see, when we are adjusting or when we have applied the material. So that's the way, or that's one of the way of importing your material from Substance to 3ds Max. Another is, I'll press M for Material Editor, and then in this scene, you can go here, up here, and you will see there is a, for example, you can search for materials such as substance. If you search for the material substance, they will have this substance sets here. You can simply click and drag one, and now you have a substance material. So we can rename it, for example. Let's say this is going to be substance material set 02. And then I will just load the substance material from here. I'll go to the folder where we have saved it, the one that we have published, the SBSAR file, here in the ENV02. There it is. This is the SBSAR file. Open, and then it is now applied. See? And each of the materials are already here. I can now go directly here. Let's say I'll duplicate this, or I'll just create the same. I can create the same plane, meaning the same dimensions, 200 by 200. I have the same segments, and then I'll add the same displace material, displace modifier, the same amount of displace. I can copy it actually. I'll just delete this, and then I can copy this, paste, and then also I can copy the turbo smooth and then paste. So there it is, and then I can just apply this material, the displace, into this object. So I'll just select it, and then I can click this, apply. So now, as you can see, it is also applied here, right? So that is how you can apply your substance material directly into 3ds Max. So thank you. I hope you learned something from the series.